I'm Jess Ayers.
And I'm Jarrett Sullivan.
Welcome to Opening the Vault,
where we watch every Disney animated feature in chronological order.
Today, we're going to be watching the 1951 classic, Alice in Wonderland.
The success of Cinderella has allowed Walt Disney to continue to make animated features.
Hooray!
So now he brought us Alice in Wonderland.
I know I saw this movie a ton as a kid. I don't remember understanding it. I remember it being really, really long.
Yeah.
Even though it's only an hour 15.
Yeah, same as Cinderella. I remember as a kid thinking it was just very weird.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it'll make more sense now that we're adults.
Maybe. So the 1920s, when Walt worked in Kansas City, he made the Alice shorts. They never received wide distribution, and they're not really well known now. I don't even know if they exist to be seen, actually. Maybe at the Disney Archive. But now he's churning along making these animated features, and we get Alice in Wonderland. Let's watch it.
Yeah.
Step into an exciting, colorful, wonderfully new world as Walt Disney brings to glowing life the adventures of Alice in Wonderland, based on Lewis Carroll's beloved story.
All right, so that was Alice in Wonderland.
Yes.
I think I figured out why I thought it was so long when I was a kid. Because it doesn't make any sense.
No. It is full of nonsense.
Yes. There is no through line plot other than Alice is curious where the White Rabbit is going, and she's trying to find him.
Yeah, it's just weird. It feels like it's 3 hours long.
It does.
And
it felt so long. It felt like we watched this all afternoon.
I mean, the animation's really interesting.
It is.
Disney animator director Ward Kimball came out and said that he felt that the film didn't do well because of having too many directors, too many cooks.
Too many cooks, too many cooks.
That they all tried to one-up each other with like more crazy and more madness, but that ended up kind of spoiling it all, and it just became too strange.
It was really strange.
Alice in Wonderland didn't do very well when it initially came out. It was criticized as being like Americanized or Disney-fied version of the story. Walt didn't care about that. He responded with, I was making a family film. I'm not going to do exactly what's in the books.
Right,
So.
especially because some of the stuff in the books is super creepy.
The Walrus and the Carpenter sequence from Through the Looking Glass is put in Alice in Wonderland, and it's really disturbing.
It is, and I don't think I quite got how disturbing it was as a kid. Like, to me, that was just like, well, this is a weird story, but okay.
Yeah, the oysters...
Anthropomorphized oysters.
Well, they're like little babies, too. And so he's going
know.
to eat these little babies. And it was really, like, even as I was watching now, I'm like, I am uncomfortable watching this. This is...
Because I knew it was coming, and I was like, oh, they're so cute. And they're just like, la, 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 let's go play with the walrus. La,
Yeah.
la, la.
And it's over. And Alice only responds with, oh, that's a sad story. There's a lot of the, like, Disney trippy color change and stuff from the, like, more psychedelic things in Fantasia or Saludos Amigos, Three Caballeros, where,
or
like...
Dumbo,
Yeah,
Pink Elephants.
Pink Elephants. There's a lot of the Disney trippy going on in this. It makes you feel weird. Mm-hmm. Walt, in retrospect, thought that the movie didn't do well because Alice is a kind of cold character. I didn't really feel that way. I thought she was fine. She's just a little girl.
She was just a little girl. Like, she's...
Yeah.
I didn't see her as cold. She's just naive.
Yeah.
And doesn't want to do her history lesson. And so she creates this dream world where things are silly. Plus, she's in a dream. Like, the whole time she's in a dream. So you're not quite yourself when you're in a dream.
Right.
So she's sort of like an exaggerated or under-exaggerated version of herself. Mm-hmm. She's just sort of silly.
I do like the unbirthday sequence.
Yeah. That was always my favorite as a kid.
I think it's a calliope that's in the music.
That's what it is, a calliope.
Yeah.
I couldn't think of the instrument. A calliope.
So it's cool. They're insane. The Cheshire Cat says they're mad. Of course, he says everyone's mad, but
right.
The Mad Hatter and the March Hare are Yeah, like, it's so weird. Like, Alice just wants to have some tea, and she can never get the tea. It's so insane, and everything is meant to be nonsense. And so it's difficult to watch, and it's hard to kind of follow because there's nothing to follow. And it's not non sequitur jokes. Mm-mm. It's just randomness. And so it actually, to me, becomes boring.
Yes.
And while it's visually interesting and individual segments are like, oh, this is neat, or oh, that's kind of fun, altogether, it's just like I'm exhausted watching this. In the late 60s, when the psychedelic movement started going, Alice in Wonderland found renewed interest. Mm-hmm. Walt was hesitant with this. He, by this time, was the very Uncle Walt character that he turned himself into, very conservative portrayal of himself. And he even pulled the prints from colleges to not be screened. But they eventually gave in and re-released it into theaters in 1974, going with the psychedelic times, and it did fantastically well. So I think that's
why it endures.
Yeah, and even today it's hailed as this great Disney classic. I don't agree.
No.
It is now seen as one of the best adaptations of the book to screen, and probably because it's been tried to be adapted over and over again and just always fails. And this was at least interesting because it's animated instead of like weird costumes and stuff.
But it is arguably a very difficult piece of literature to adapt to a visual medium, because whatever you imagine while you're reading it is not ever going to translate directly to a visual medium for someone else. Yeah.
And it's humor and like cleverness is in the writing. It's a whole other medium here, so it's very difficult. Mm-hmm. So it's now hailed as a success and not the like Americanization that was at the time. So Alice in Wonderland, it's weird.
It is weird, and I can understand a nostalgia for it because it is kind of a Disney classic, and I watched it as a kid, and I enjoyed watching it as a kid.
So if you haven't seen Alice in Wonderland, I guess you should.
Just for the sake of seeing it?
Yeah, but it's weird.
It is.
And I'm not in any rush to see it again.
No. It's fun for if you have a little kid and they will sit through an hour-long movie. It has fun, wacky animation. It has fun songs. It's brightly colored. It's very silly. So I can definitely see small children liking it for those reasons. But as far as like character development and, a plot goes, there's not much there.
I mean, it's a piece of art.
It is.
So I think it deserves that recognition. But as a piece of entertainment, it's just kind of okay.
Kind of boring.
So join us next week when we watch Peter Pan!
Peter Pan!
Very excited.
Yes.
You can find all our social media over here. There's a subscribe button. You should click it. You should get your friends to click it. All your family.
Your dog. If your dog has a YouTube channel, have your dog subscribe.
If you have a Google or Gmail account, you have a YouTube account, that's the same thing. So click that button. And you say, why? Say, because we ask you to. And because it'll tell you when we put videos in. And it helps us by knowing how many people are watching, so you can not miss stuff that we do.
Also, head on over to our Facebook page, and there you will find other videos that we make. Usually stuff that we had to cut out of these ones because we just didn't have enough time, or they got too long, or it's just goofy and doesn't pertain to the rest of the episode. Mm-hmm. Lots of times we have bloopers and other silly things we make over there. So head on over to our Facebook page and check that out too.
If you were in a random room that you found yourself in and there was a bottle that says, "Drink me," would you? Tell us in the comments down below.
I know I go around drinking strange liquids all the time.
Thanks for watching.
And as they say in the Disney parks,
have a magical day.